What's up, y'all? T Brown 31 here from the Takedown Sports with J Bot the Great. And in this video, we'll be reviewing game one of the NBA Finals. So the finals began on Tuesday night, and I know you're a big Bucks fan. So what are your initial thoughts on last night's game?
Well, obviously, it's a bit disappointed as the Bucks go down 1-0 to the Suns, 118 to 105 loss. The Bucks have been kind of slow in their game ones this season. They squeaked out an overtime win against Miami, and then lost against Brooklyn, Atlanta, and now Phoenix. So I didn't expect a huge game one. Giannis also just came back from his injury, and I kind of thought we'd probably lose this first one, especially in a away game, and they kept it close for a little bit, but the kind of sadness that they lost within the second half and some of the defensive issues was just pitiful to see, and they got to fix that. This is the finals.
Yeah, I mean, you said it. I mean, they've started off slow in every series in game, one or two. But like you said, you can't do this in the finals. Like, you have to show up immediately, because you lose one game, the Suns are going to get confidence, and going forward, they might end up taking that confidence and sweeping the Bucks. Now, I don't think that'll happen, but I think the Bucks will show back up in the following games, at least in Milwaukee. But you don't want to give the Suns any more confidence than they already have. They've been going through the playoffs pretty easily so far. Um, despite injuries from the other teams that they face, they've gone through the playoffs. They've shown that they're the best team in the playoffs, obviously, and the Bucks just have to turn it around. Like you said, defense is a huge issue, and for a team that is supposed to be predicated on their defense, the Bucks defense was just pretty much non-existent. Now 118 isn't a whole lot of points to allow in a game, but you need to try to keep it a little bit lower than that. In the NBA Finals, you want to get it down to like 100, around 105, like which the Bucks scored. Um, and then when you have DeAndre Ayton scoring 22, Devin Booker scoring 27, Chris Paul with another great scoring output, 32, and then Cameron Johnson and Cam Payne both getting 10 points each, and Michael Bridges with 14, you're probably going to lose there. Now, we do know that it was Giannis's first game back, and I think he'll get more healthy as the series goes on. And hopefully by the time they get to, game 3 or 4 in Milwaukee, he will be completely healthy. Um, but either way, you still have to show out, a lot better than you did in game one going forward if you want to win this series.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, thankfully we got Chris Middleton immediately awake in this first game. He came out, it was 29, 7 and 4. Pretty good outing for him. Giannis to come off an injury and still put up 20 and 17 is pretty good. The issue is that Drew Holiday came out and did not come out. He shot 4 for 14. He managed to get 10 points. He had, 7 rebounds and 9 assists, which is great, but he's supposed to be an offensive contributor as well as far as scoring goes, not just assisting. And without his scoring, especially the like 5 or 6 putback attempts he missed, it's just, you can't have that, especially not in a finals game. And now, if you break down kind of the overall shooting of both teams, it looks pretty close. You had 24 for 52 from 2 for the Bucks, and then 31 for 55 for the Suns, 16 threes, and then 11 threes for the Suns. 16 was for the Bucks, but the Bucks didn't get as much free throws as the Suns did, and the ones they did get, most of them went to Giannis, and well, you know how he is at the free throw line. But the Suns shot an amazing 25 for 26 from the free throw line. The only miss being Jay Crowder at the very last minute of the game. So I mean, there was just, they piled those on. They got the calls they wanted. And Chris Paul and Devin Booker got the defenders they wanted. Drew would run up to meet one of them, and they would pull off some kind of move to get on either Bryn Forbes or Pat Connaughton or Brook Lopez, and then it's over. I mean, these little fast guys are going to cook Pat and Bryn, who are bad on defense. And Brook, who's a good defender, is just not going to do well against the little guy who can speed past him and create the contact he needs, or just blow by him and pretend he's not there. So a lot of everything went the Suns' way last night. I mean, it was a great game for them. Good time to be a Suns fan, because you just look at that game and you're like, wow, we do this, it's easy. And now I don't think they'll sweep the Bucks. I think the Bucks will come back and win it. At least I hope they will. But Yeah, like you said, you don't want confidence to build if you're a Bucks fan, because if the Suns keep building this confidence, they're just gonna blow through, and they have a good chance to make a big sweep. I mean, it's everything is possible, and especially in the finals. And you don't want a team to gain that kind of momentum right out of the gate. I think this game, next game in Phoenix on Thursday, is a huge must-win for the Bucks, because if they don't even it up before bringing it home, they are going to be in a bad position.
Yeah, I mean, a sweep is entirely possible, and it's could happen if the Bucks don't put up more of a fight than they did in Game One, and they let the Suns get confidence, like we said. But the idea that it's a foregone conclusion already, and that the Bucks are completely done, they can't put up a better effort going forward. I don't think that's really true. The Suns have been playing the best basketball, like I said, but Giannis is going to get more healthy, as we said earlier. And if he continues to get healthy, later in the series, and Chris Middleton plays like Chris Middleton should play, as he did in Game One, leading the team in scoring here, then the Bucks have a good chance of winning the series as well. Drew Holiday doesn't have to score 25 points for them to win, unless it's one of these situations where Giannis is coming off of an injury, going from doubtful to questionable to probable to he will play in just a span of hours, and he only puts up 20 points. Giannis usually puts up 30 something, 33 to 35 a game generally. Then Drew Holiday definitely has to put up more points than just 10. And when Pat Connaughton scores almost as much as Drew Holiday does in 12 less minutes, and when Drew Holiday is supposed to be a way better player, that's just kind of unacceptable from him. But I do think going forward, Drew Holiday will probably put up a better effort. Um, he did have the assists and the rebounds, but just the points wise, he has to just do better. Chris Middleton has to do what he does. I mean, he was great shooting almost 50% from three. That's what you need from him. And like I said, Giannis is going to get more healthy, and he should score more. And then if you can get 17 points from Brook Lopez like you did in this game, then I think they should be good going forward to at least even it up in Game Two. I see a lot of people talking about the refs, which again, the refs have been kind of atrocious the entire playoffs at this point, so I'm not going to really speak too much on that. Um, Brook Lopez, like closing out on Chris Paul there, that was definitely a foul, but I'm not really sure how that constitutes a flagrant. I'm not really sure what constitutes a flagrant anymore at this point, because I figured it's supposed to be something that's just unnecessary, but it's not like Brook Lopez went out of his way to, break Chris's ankle or anything like that. So the rest do need to be better, but I don't think the rest are going to decide the series, because at the end of the day, the Bucks have to play better defense.
Yeah, that's the big thing for me in this series. I mean, the refs definitely helped the Suns last night. The Brook Lopez foul was definitely a foul. Flagrant, I don't think so, but foul for sure. Uh, the biggest issue I had watching the refs in that game is the amount of calls that Devin Booker gets for having PJ Tucker look at him the wrong way. On some plays, Chris Middleton gets like smacked as he walks or tries to get to the basket, like just straight up slapped around, and does not get any calls. And so that's probably the bigger difference maker. But Coach Bud even says, they tried to be a great defensive team that defends without giving fouls away, and they just didn't do that last night. I mean, some of them were definitely deserved. You create contact, they're going to get the foul, and even though some of them shouldn't have happened, you kind of have to deal with it and move on. And, you got to defend. You can't. But it's not like they scored 118 free throws. 25 is a lot, but they were doing a lot more without getting to the line, and you've got to not let that happen. But DeAndre Ayton essentially could just stand near the paint, and if he put up a smooth like 22, 19 rebounds easy. He was just always right there, nobody around him. And in this game, it kind of there's two things for the Bucks. For one, Coach Bud has weird rotations. Like Jeff Teague got 9 minutes, which is not bad, but he came in, sunk a three, and was around for a little bit, and then kind of just got put in every now and then for like a minute or two. He did the same thing at the end of the Hawks series, where Teague came in, hit some pretty good threes, but then was just pulled out. So I don't really know why he doesn't get as many minutes. And then the other thing, I think in this series is going to be the biggest one, where we really feel the loss of Dante DiVincenzo. He wasn't a big offensive producer for the Bucks, but he is a really good defending guard. And we've had to deal with the Nets, which have some super offense, but some of those guys can be a little more slowed down by the bigger defenders like KD, which obviously he wasn't slowed much. But as far as the Suns go, you've got to worry about Devin Booker and Chris Paul, and we just don't have the enough fast guys to hold on to them, especially not when they just can switch over and grab Bryn Forbes or grab Pat Connaughton and easy bucket. So the loss of Dante is really going to be felt in this one. I think it's not something that can't be overcome. And like I said when the Bucks beat Brooklyn that I think if they can do that, they have a chance to win a championship. But they can't play dumb. The Bucks definitely are great at playing dumb. Just bad shots, fouling people when you don't need to, offensive plays that make no sense, and defensive coordination that is very uncoordinated. So I don't know why the Bucks choose to just lose their minds like once every 3 games, but I guess they had their game last night to do that. And you got to hope for the sake of entertainment, at the very least, that they don't keep doing that. Because even if they do get swept, I would at least like to see a competitive game each time, not a competitive first half followed by the Bucks forgetting where they are.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like the Suns are head over heels better than the Bucks. I mean, Giannis is obviously the best player in the series, and then on the other side, you have Chris Paul and then Devin Booker being the best 2 players after that. But Giannis is hobbled, of course, and if Giannis is able to score like 30, Chris Middleton is able to score the same amount of points that he gets. I don't think offense is really the problem. They just have to play better defense. It's really as simple as that. They got to be able to fight through screens. They have to be able to not foul guys when they're getting on a screen and one of them goes up for a 3. That's an easy foul. And if they make it, you're going for an and one on a 4-point play there. And that's just a huge turn because essentially 2 possessions right there just on one mistake. So going back to the Brook Lopez thing, it wasn't a flagrant, but it is a foul, and it's a dumb foul that you're committing. I know you have to play defense on him, but give him some space. And, if a guy makes that shot, you're going to have to give him 4 points essentially because it doesn't look like the Suns are going to miss any free throws. The Bucks have to get better at free throws. Giannis doesn't seem like he's really going to get better at free throws during the series. I mean, he can, train during the off season, but during the series, it doesn't really seem like he's going to get better there. So if the Suns are willing to foul Giannis and really nobody else, then the Bucks are going to have a problem there. And if they keep committing these stupid fouls, and like you said earlier, not getting easy putbacks and just overall making dumb defensive mistakes, then the Suns will make it easy work. But I just have a feeling like when you have a guy like Giannis on your team, hobbled or not, they can't just go down to 4. I just can't see it. But we never know. That Phoenix crowd is probably killing them. Just throughout the game and at the free throw line with Giannis. We've seen this over the past few series with him at the free throw line. The Phoenix crowd is going to be hot next game. Then they go back to Milwaukee. And if you don't win game 2, then you absolutely have to win game 3 because I don't feel like they could come back after losing the first 3 games. So we'll just have to see what happens with this team going forward. But for the sake of Bucks fans, they better turn it up next game.
Yeah, I think the best case scenario for the Bucks here is to win game 2, of course, and bring it to Milwaukee even and try to go possibly up 3-1 with 2 home wins or keep it even at 2-2 by the time you go back to Phoenix. If they go down 2-0, then you want to even it up before you leave Milwaukee. You want to come back to 2-2. But yeah, if they lose game 2, they cannot lose game 3. Being put in a 3-0 hole in the finals is probably it because people are there. The team that's up 3 and realizes that they just have to not lose 4 times in a row and have to only win 1, and then they're probably going to find a way to clinch it eventually. Coming back from 3-1 and coming back from 3-0 are very different. They may not seem like it, but at least one of them you already have a little bit of a spark to you. Coming from 3-0, you are essentially a dead team trying to rise up and do the impossible, and I don't see that happening. So they have got to come out and they've got to at least win this next game or the one after to put a stake in this series. They went down 2-0 to Brooklyn. They came back at home, brought it to 2-2, and obviously were able to rally against that team. So it's possible. but I think most Bucks fans would like to see them win Game 2 in Phoenix and not play as stupid as they did.
Yeah, one player that I want to highlight for a second here is DeAndre Ayton. I know obviously Chris Paul is the MVP of the team right now. He's been going crazy. This seems like this is his year to win the finals. The stars are aligning. Devin Booker has emerged as a full-fledged superstar, no question about it. But DeAndre Ayton putting in 22 and 19, and this seems like a pretty much regular occurrence at this point. He's getting 16, 17, 18, 19 rebounds a game, and 20 points at least generally. That you can't stop. They don't really have somebody on the inside that's going to be able to stop DeAndre Ayton on the basket. Obviously, Giannis is darn near 7 feet tall, but the knock on Giannis is like, oh, it doesn't want to guard certain people, blah blah blah. I'm not really sure what you can do there because obviously Brook Lopez is not going to be able to stop DeAndre Ayton, and you don't really have anyone else that's going to be able to stop him. PJ Tucker is obviously, a very tough guy, but he ain't nowhere near tall enough to stop DeAndre Ayton in his dreams, right? So I just want to point out DeAndre, he's been a very unsung player, and despite Chris Paul and Devin Booker being so great throughout the playoffs, if DeAndre Ayton hadn't been showing up, I don't think they would be here.
Yeah, I mean, DeAndre Ayton is definitely very crucial for their success right now. And like you said, Brook Lopez is not going to be able to hold off DeAndre Ayton in the paint all the time. And PJ Tucker is tough, he's gritty, but same thing. He's just not built for stopping a guy like DeAndre Ayton from literally just standing in the paint and putting the ball in. So the Bucks, Giannis is their best chance to stop him. Lopez in transition maybe, but I don't see Lopez being a consistent stopper. But they've also got to stop him from getting rebounds. The Bucks have some pretty good rebounders. Pat Connaughton, for as little as he is usually pretty good at snagging the balls from the bigger guys. But DeAndre Ayton grabbed 19 last night, and I mean, watching the game start to finish, I didn't even realize how many he got until I was at the end because it was so casual. It wasn't like for the points and the rebounds for Ayton. He just did them quietly, stayed in his spot, got what he needed to do, and he knew his role, and he put up a double-double easily. And that's going to be crucial for the Suns' success. They also, of course, with his 22, and then Devin and Chris Paul going off, they had the first trio, like big three in a finals to put up like 81 points, and that's crazy. That's a strong debut. And Ayton is 22, so that is insane. I think some people kind of forget that he was within that big three of Luka, Trey, and himself, and all three have blossomed. And honestly, I didn't expect Ayton to make the finals first out of them, but he has done it, and he is doing a good job in it.
Yeah, I guess DeAndre Ayton making the finals first probably has to do with the fact that he has, a Hall of Famer on his team as his castmate. Luka has big Kristaps, in the corner doing whatever he's doing. And Trey has a good supporting cast, but he doesn't have a Chris Paul, obviously, or a Devin Booker. But DeAndre has definitely contributed a whole lot. And I just wanted to give him props there because it doesn't seem like a whole lot of people are giving him a lot of credit for what he's been doing. So I just wanted to bring that up there.
Yeah, I mean, he definitely deserves big credit. And yeah, of course, he's got Chris Paul and Devin Booker helping him get to the finals. And he said Luka has big Kristaps, but big Kristaps wasn't very helpful. So yeah, it's definitely not. If it was just DeAndre Ayton in the same situation as Trey or Luka, I don't think he would have made the finals first. But that's not to take anything away from him. He's obviously proved himself to be an amazing player, and I wouldn't even really call him a role player, though I'd say he's a perfect example of someone who knows what he's there for and doesn't try to, go out of his way to do a bunch of extra, and he's still able to contribute amazingly.
Yeah, I mean, he has one job, score inside and then get a bunch of rebounds, tower over people, and he does that to the best of his ability. So that's really all you can ask from him. So guys, that's all for this video. I hope you enjoyed listening. Check out the podcast on the channel and on Spotify. Thank you for tuning in. Like, comment, subscribe. We'll see y'all later.